Hello friends! Today we are going to talk about the book Deep Work by Cal Newport. In today's world, there is no shortage of distractions. Notifications everywhere, social media, emails, and endless meetings have made our brains shallow. In this context, Cal Newport's book Deep Work has brought a powerful solution. It starts with a strong hypothesis. Newport says that the ability to do deep work, that is, the skill to focus the mind deeply, has become rare, and the person who acquires this skill will achieve the most success in today's knowledge-based economy. Now think, when most people are scrolling on social media, checking WhatsApp repeatedly, if you can focus on a single task for 2 hours without any distraction, how far ahead can you be? This is the essence of deep work. Cal Newport's point is that those who can do meaningful work with deep concentration move far ahead of the average person, because now it is not enough to just have knowledge. Applying it deeply is the real productivity. Now it is important to know that deep work is not a single method. Rather, there can be different ways to adopt it, which depend on your lifestyle and the nature of your work. Newport suggests 4 ways through which a person can apply deep work in their life. The first way is the monastic philosophy. This means complete isolation. That is, you completely disconnect yourself from the world and focus only on your work. This method is good for those who are in a creative or research-based profession, such as writers, scientists, or scholars. Take an example. When J.K. Rowling wrote the last part of Harry Potter, she went to a hotel and isolated herself from the world so that she could write by completely immersing herself. The monastic strategy, while extreme, is very effective. The second way is the bimodal philosophy. In this, you divide your day or week into 2 parts. One part is for deep work, and the other part is for the rest of the shallow tasks. For example, a professor interacts with students all week, but isolates himself on the weekend for research. This provides a dedicated, long period for deep work, such as working continuously for 4 or 6 hours without any interruption. The third way is the rhythmic philosophy, which is probably the most practical. In this, you follow a fixed schedule every day, where a specific time is allocated for deep work. For example, every day from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m., you will only do your most important work. The advantage of this is that it becomes a habit, and you don't have to decide repeatedly when to do deep work. Just like going to the gym becomes a habit, the time for deep work also gets set. This creates consistency, and your ability to focus improves every day. Now let's talk about the fourth and most flexible method, the journalistic philosophy. In this, whenever you get free time or any vacant slot, you turn that time into deep work. Just as a journalist can switch to a deep thinking mode at any moment, you can also do deep work in small gaps in your busy schedule. But this method only works when your focusing ability is already strong. For beginners, it can be a challenging thing because it involves quick mental switching. Among these 4 strategies, which method is right for you depends on your lifestyle, the nature of your work, and mental discipline. Maybe you will start with the rhythmic strategy and later move towards bimodal or monastic, or your work might be such that the journalistic strategy is practical. Another interesting thing is that Newport says that to do deep work, it's not enough to just remove distractions, but you also have to train your brain to hold focus. This is also a skill that comes with practice. Just as a workout is necessary to strengthen the body, daily deep work is necessary to sharpen the mind. Think, if you work with complete attention for just 2 hours every day, the output you will give in 1 month can be much more effective than shallow, scattered work in 1 year. This is the power of deep work, giving high-quality output in less time. Another big difference comes in satisfaction. When you finish a task without any interruption, there is an inner joy. A sense of achievement comes, where taking repeated breaks or multitasking destroys the joy of work. Deep work, in a way, makes work like meditation. But the challenge is that doing deep work is not easy. Distractions are everywhere. Smartphones, emails, chats, and even our own attention gets distracted very quickly. That's why Newport suggests many techniques and rituals in this book, with the help of which you can slowly make deep work a part of your daily routine. An important thing he says is that to do deep work, you have to keep your priorities clear. You have to learn to say no to those things that are shallow so that you can say yes to those tasks that are truly related to your goals and values. Now let's get back to the summary. Finally, he also says that doing deep work is not just for productivity, but also for satisfaction and a meaningful life. When you learn a skill deeply,
or work on a meaningful project with full focus, you feel a kind of progress and pride. So whether you are a writer, a teacher, a designer, a developer, or from any field, if you can acquire the skill of deep work, you can not only stay ahead of others, but also bring a new depth and clarity to your life. In a world full of distractions, focus can be your biggest superpower. That's why the next time you sit down to work, consciously decide that from now on, you are starting the journey of deep work. It will seem difficult in the beginning, but slowly, when you feel that your work is getting better, your mind is calmer, and your growth is real, then you will understand that deep work is not just a technique, but a mindset. This is the real beauty of the deep work hypothesis, a skill that is both rare and valuable. In today's world, many people stay busy all day, but at the end of the day, they feel that they haven't achieved anything special. Why does this happen? The answer is shallow work. Cal Newport, in his book Deep Work, says that shallow work is called those tasks that seem important but actually have no deep value. This type of work does not require much mental effort, like answering emails, attending meetings, filling out forms, formatting presentations, or managing a calendar. All these tasks take a lot of time, but there is very little real progress. Now think, if your whole day is spent on such tasks, then no matter how many hours you work, your results will always be ordinary, because you haven't actually done any meaningful or creative work. Newport clearly says that shallow work is not only productive, but also destructive. It slowly finishes both your time and attention, and doesn't even let you realize that you are moving away from the real work. The biggest danger of shallow work is that it creates an illusion, as if you are busy, you are working. But when you track what new things you learned, what effective results you got, the answer is often nothing special. And this is dangerous for a career, because in today's knowledge-based economy, success is gained by those who can do high-quality, deep-thinking work. The second harm of shallow work is that it weakens your attention span. Every time you check an email or answer a random message, your brain goes into shallow mode, and by being in shallow mode repeatedly, you lose the habit of thinking deeply. It has also been proven by scientific research that if you change your focus multiple times a day, your ability to pay attention slowly decreases.
Newport also says that a shallow work culture has been created in many organizations. There, people continuously email each other. They fix meetings for small things and expect an immediate reaction to everything. In such a culture, a person cannot do deep work because he doesn't get a chance to breathe. Now, the question is, if shallow work is so dangerous, then what is its solution? The first step is awareness. When you start to understand which work is shallow and which work is deep, you consciously start making choices. You ask yourself, is this task related to my goals? Will it increase my learning or creativity? And if the answer is no, then you can try to reduce or automate that task. Newport advises to limit the shallow tasks to a specific time. For example, keep only 30 minutes every day for checking emails, or fix a planning meeting only once a week. The more you keep the shallow tasks within a specific boundary, the more your mind will be free for deep work. Now, let's talk about the second main point, which Newport emphasizes repeatedly. Focus requires training. That is, the ability to think or work deeply is not a magic, but a skill that can be improved through practice. Just as muscles get stronger in the gym, the brain's ability to focus is also built through exercise. But the problem is that today's people have become addicted to multitasking, checking the phone every 2 minutes, occasionally scrolling Instagram and then working on another window. All this harms focus. That's why Newport says that deep focus does not come on its own. It requires regular mental training. A powerful technique that he recommends is productive meditation. This means that during a normal activity, such as walking or traveling, you think deeply about a problem or a project. Whenever your mind gets distracted, bring it back to that topic repeatedly. It's exactly like how attention is brought to breathing in meditation. This method strengthens your attention and makes your mind accustomed to thinking deeply. Newport also says that we should limit our network tools. In today's world, some notification attracts your attention every second. Whether it's WhatsApp, Twitter, or LinkedIn, each of these apps is designed to bring you back repeatedly. But if you want to do deep work, then you have to control these tools, not the other way around. This doesn't mean that you will go completely offline,
but you have to make smart decisions about which tool to use, when, and for how long. For example, you can turn off all social media app notifications on your phone, or you can fix a specific time when you will go to these apps. This will keep your brain distraction-free and you will be more focused. Another common habit for focus training is to have a focus session every day. For example, keep an uninterrupted time of just 30 minutes every day where you will only do one task. No phone, no internet, just pure concentration. It will seem difficult in the beginning. Your mind will be restless, but slowly it will improve like a muscle. Another benefit that Newport mentions is that when you practice deep work, your learning speed also increases. This means you can learn new things very quickly because your mind, being free from distractions, puts its full energy into one thing. This is a game changer, especially for those people who want to master a skill, such as writing, coding, designing, or problem solving. Cal Newport also says that doing deep work is a personal discipline that you have to consciously create in your schedule and environment. You have to promise yourself that you will stay away from shallow work and practice deep attention, even if it's a little every day. If you're thinking, is it really possible to do this? Then the answer is yes, it is absolutely possible. Thousands of people have not only increased their productivity by adopting this method, but have also reduced their mental stress and found satisfaction in their work. And the best thing is that once the ability to deep focus is created, it is useful throughout your career. Then whether you are an entrepreneur or a student, an artist or an engineer, when your mind learns to think deeply, then you can make decisions with clarity and confidence in every situation. That's why if you want your time to really create something valuable, then first recognize shallow work and reduce it. Then slowly train your mind for deep attention through productive meditation, focus sessions, and the boundaries of distractions. This is the main message of deep work. Meaningful work requires meaningful attention. And this attention is a skill that you can also build. You just have to decide whether you want to look busy or be truly productive. The difference is only between shallow and deep. In today's age, whenever we feel bored or get a little free time, we automatically pick up the phone and go to some social media app. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Snapchat, and I don't know what else. This has become a default behavior. We don't choose these platforms because they are truly adding any value to our lives, but because everyone else is on them. Cal Newport looks at this behavior very critically and says that blindly following social media has become the biggest obstacle in the path of our attention and deep work. Newport says that quitting social media is not a dramatic or extreme step. It should be a thoughtful and deliberate decision. We should ask ourselves this question: does this platform truly add any real value to my life? If the answer is yes, then it should be kept, and if it's no, then it should be left, no matter how popular or entertaining it may be. Now think, does every social media platform give you any meaningful result? Does scrolling Instagram lead to your personal improvement? Have the endless posts on Facebook helped your career? Are you gaining deep knowledge from YouTube's recommendations? If not, then what's the point of spending hours every day on these apps? Newport presents an interesting concept: the craftsman approach to tool selection. This means that just as a craftsman, that is, a skilled worker, carefully chooses which tools will help their work, we should also thoughtfully choose technological tools. A tool should not be used just because it's new or everyone is using it, but because it explicitly supports a core goal. For example, if you're a photographer and Instagram is the best way to get your photography to an audience, then you keep it. But if you just feel comparison, jealousy, or distraction by looking at other people's photos, then it is harmful to you. This principle applies to the rest of the apps as well. Now let's talk about what is the way to deliberately exit from social media. Newport advises that for a specific period, say for 30 days, turn off all optional tools and then observe whether you feel a lack of anything in your life or if you are actually improving. Can you work with more attention? Have you done more meaningful work? Do you have less anxiety? This becomes a practical test that shows you which tools are working for you and which ones are controlling you. Often people give the excuse that it's important to stay connected with social media so that they can stay updated or not miss opportunities. But Newport clearly says that if something doesn't directly support your most important goals, then it's better to leave it. And the truth is that any real opportunity is found in deep attention, not in shallow distractions.
Now let's talk about the second main point: drain the shallows. This means reducing or almost eliminating shallow tasks so that you have that mental space and time where you can do cognitively demanding, that is, deep work. Newport says that we get involved in so many small, unnecessary tasks in our daily lives, such as answering unnecessary emails, having repeated meetings, taking random calls, and reacting to every small thing that we don't even have time for deep work. That's why it's important that we drain the shallow work. That is, remove it from the system. The very first step is awareness. You have to identify which tasks in your daily routine are shallow. Then you have to try to reduce, delegate, or automate them. Newport advises that you audit your weekly schedule. Write down every task and analyze it. Is it possible to achieve my goals without this task? Does this task require deep attention, or does it just give an external appearance of being busy? When you think like this, you will see that there are many tasks in your schedule that only waste time. They do not provide real progress. In the case of emails, a smart strategy is batch processing. This means that instead of checking emails scattered throughout the day, you do it only once or twice a day at a specific time. This will maintain your mental flow, and you will stay distraction-free. Along with this, it's not necessary to answer every email. You can follow the policy of being brief, clear, and sometimes not answering. Newport's advice for meetings is very clear. Never agree to a meeting without a clear agenda and purpose. Often meetings are held just because they seem normal, but if a meeting doesn't have a specific outcome, then it's just a waste of time. You can often solve the problem for which a 1-hour meeting is held through a short email. Another powerful way is time blocking. In this, you divide your whole day into different blocks, and you allocate a specific task to each block. This way, you know what to do at what time, and you can save yourself from unnecessary things. Newport also says that shallow work cannot be eliminated completely, but its level can be reduced so much that it will not hinder your deep work. If you want, you can allocate a specific percentage of your total working time for shallow work. For example, only 20% for shallow work and 80% for deep work. When you plan consciously like this, and you don't waste your energy on shallow tasks, then you have more time, more attention, and more satisfaction. You not only achieve more, but also feel more fulfilled in your journey. Now you think for yourself, if you put only 30% of your daily time into shallow work and the remaining 70% into high-impact, deep thinking work, then how much more progress can you make in the next 1 year? And this is the promise of deep work, to put your limited time and energy in the best possible direction. So now is the time that you look at your phone screen and ask yourself, are these apps making my life better or just wasting my time? And then look at your calendar and think, am I stuck in shallow work or am I really working on effective things? In the beginning, these changes may seem a bit uncomfortable, but when you see the first results, your mind will be calm, your clarity will increase, and most importantly, your work will be better. Then you will know that leaving social media and draining shallow work is not an ordinary choice, but a smart choice. This is the beginning of a deliberate life. We have all felt it at some point that the whole day passed, but no important task was completed. It feels like time has slipped from our grasp, and even after running around all day, satisfaction is absent. The solution to this problem is given by Cal Newport in his book Deep Work through a simple but powerful idea. Schedule every minute of your day. That is, planning every minute of your day, allocating every time block to some task, and making your whole day deliberate. Now you might be thinking, is it possible to plan every minute? Won't life become robotic or boring? But the answer is no.
Actually, when you plan every hour or every block of your day, you take control of your time. You are not reacting randomly, but you are working with a clear intention. This intention takes your productivity and attention much higher. Time blocking means that you will divide the day's tasks into different blocks, and you will set each block on the calendar. Whether it's work, rest, lunch, or even scrolling time, let there be a specific time for everything. The advantage of this is that when your mind knows what to do at what time, it stays more organized and distractions naturally decrease. A very common habit is to create a to-do list, but the to-do list has a flaw. It doesn't have time. You just create a list of tasks, but you don't fix when and how long it will take to do them. As a result, tasks keep getting postponed, priorities get confused, and shallow tasks also get as much importance as deep tasks. Time blocking solves this problem. When you start your day with a calendar where there is a specific time for every task, your mind works with clarity and discipline. Suppose you have blocked from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. for a deep project. Then from 11 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. for a break, and then from 11:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m., you have kept time for emails. By doing this, your mind gives full attention to every task, because it knows when the break will come and the time for the rest of the tasks is already set. The biggest quality of time blocking is that it manages your attention. In today's world, attention is the biggest asset. If you don't control your attention, someone else does. Social media, notifications, or unnecessary chats. When the use of every moment is already planned, you can save yourself from this trap of attention. Now let's talk about the second concept that makes deep work even easier. Routine builds depth. That is, if you fix deep work as a routine, in the same place, at the same time, and with the same process, your brain accepts it easily. The resistance ends. The human brain loves a pattern. When it gets the same structure repeatedly, it gets to work without much thinking. That's why if you work in a special place at 7 a.m. every morning, within a few days, that process becomes anchored in your mind. Then distractions seem less, and your attention becomes natural. Just like a special song or workout gear becomes inspiration for people who go to the gym, a specific routine can be a trigger for deep work. You can have a specific table, a notebook, a lighting setup, or even a style of clothing that signals your brain that it's time to go into deep mode. This technique takes you to the flow state, that state where you forget time, and your whole mind gets immersed in one task. Routine also has many other advantages. First of all, decision fatigue decreases. There is no need to think every day about when to work, or where to sit, or what to start. All these questions eat up your energy.
But if the routine is fixed, you can focus on the work without making a decision. The second advantage is consistency. The real effect of deep work is seen only when you do it continuously. Working with attention for one day is not enough, but when your routine is fixed, you keep giving high-quality output every day. Slowly, this consistency becomes your identity, and it brings compound growth to your career. Newport also says that the routine should not only be for work, but also for rest. Taking breaks between deep work, walking a little, taking a power nap, or listening to light music, all these things recharge your brain, but they should also be part of the routine. This way, your mind does not get distracted and energy remains balanced. Routine and time blocking together create a structure that not only increases productivity, but also gives mental peace. When your day is well planned, instead of being chaotic, you are less anxious. You don't have any guilt that something was not done, and most importantly, you continuously make progress towards your goals. Now the question is all this possible in real life? The answer is yes, it is absolutely possible. It will feel a little difficult in the beginning because we are inherently emotional and reactive. But as soon as you try time blocking for 2 or 3 days, you will feel for yourself that your brain is feeling fresher and more organized. You will also see that your shallow habits, like checking your phone repeatedly, unnecessary chatting, or procrastinating, are slowly decreasing. And when your mind moves away from distractions and fully engages in one task, its results automatically get better. A practical way is that every night before sleeping, prepare the entire schedule for the next day, block by block. In this, not only work, but also every activity should be added. Morning breakfast, rest, walking, calls, learning time, entertainment, everything. By doing this,
You get a clear vision as soon as you wake up in the morning about what to do today, and when you follow that schedule, you become the owner of your time. Remember, it's easy to drift randomly, but living deliberately is powerful. When you decide how every moment will be used, you yourself set the direction of your life. That's why Newport says that schedule every minute of your day, not to be rigid, but to be deliberate. And this intention takes you to the depths of deep work from where real growth begins. You slowly transform into a person who has risen above distractions, whose attention is like a laser beam, and whose output is much more effective than others. That's why start today little by little. First, create a block of 1 hour, then 2 hours. Set a specific routine, create small rituals, and live every day like a purposeful journey. Because when your every minute becomes meaningful, then your every day takes you towards the person you truly want to be. This is the real magic of deep work, a step towards discipline, clarity, and excellence. In today's world, the influence of hustle culture is so strong that people often think that the only way to be more productive is to work for more time. Slogans like "you snooze, you lose," "rest is for the weak," or "no days off" are heard everywhere. But Cal Newport, in his book Deep Work, presents a completely opposite perspective. He says that if you want to give high performance in the long term, then downtime, that is rest, disconnect, and breaks, have to be given as much importance as work. Actually, without recharging, you can't do deep work. The energy of our brain is not limitless. There is a limited capacity to apply attention, make decisions, and be creative. If you keep spending this energy continuously without recharging, then a decrease in performance is certain. This is the reason why every athlete, artist, and scientist takes breaks and recovery very seriously in their routine. Cal Newport clearly says that deep work is not possible without quality rest. When you work continuously, your mind slowly gets tired and it goes into shallow mode, where you're working, but that depth, clarity, and attention are not there. And when this shallow pattern becomes a habit, then creativity, insight, and the ability to learn also decrease. Now think, if you want to work with attention all day, will staying up all night scrolling on the phone and then waking up early in the morning to work really be beneficial? Absolutely not. That's why Newport emphasizes that proper sleep, digital detox, and deliberate breaks recharge your brain and fill you with clarity, inspiration, and the power of deep thinking. Research has also proven that our brain processes the day's information during sleep. It deletes unnecessary things and strengthens useful learning in memory. That is, even when you're sleeping, your brain keeps working silently. But that work happens only when the sleep is deep and uninterrupted. Downtime does not only come from sleeping or resting, but also from those moments when you're completely disconnected from technology. Imagine you stay away from the phone for a whole day. You walk in nature or just sit quietly and talk to yourself. How much your clarity increases on that day. Such moments are like a kind of refresh button for your brain. Newport sees another powerful thing. Let the brain learn to tolerate boredom. Only then can it move towards creativity and deep attention. But if you pick up the phone in every free moment, you never let your brain feel bored. And when there is no boredom, there is no creativity either. That's why if you want to be a deep thinker, you have to keep empty spaces in your routine, like deliberate walking, no screen evenings, or a weekly digital detox. You will see for yourself that when you give your brain a little space to breathe instead of being busy all the time, your performance naturally starts to increase. Now let's talk about another interesting concept, which Newport presents as a paradox: be lazy and work hard. That is, on one hand you have to be lazy, and on the other hand, you also have to work extremely hard. It sounds strange at first, but its deep meaning is very logical. Newport's point is that the real meaning of deep work is that when you are working, do it with full intensity and attention. But when you are not working, then disconnect completely. That is no half-hearted work, no multitasking, no working just for the sake of being busy, either full work or full rest. What do most people do? They neither work fully nor rest fully. They check social media while working all day, pick up the phone repeatedly, keep reading emails, and even in the evening, they keep answering office chats. The result of this is that the mind is never fully active and never fully inactive. In this half-and-half mode, neither quality output comes nor is it recharged. That's why Newport says that if you really want to do deep work, then you have to fiercely protect your leisure. Consider your evenings, your weekends, your rest time as sacred. Turn off the phone during that time. Silence notifications and completely relax. This relaxation fills you with so much energy that when you come back to work, you can bring a laser-like focus. So friends, this was the summary of our book today. Do let us know how you liked it by commenting, and thank you for listening to the summary till the end.